Coming up on Mountain News at 6, Estill County is facing its second animal hoarding incident in a little more than a month. And a recent study finds one local college has had a big impact on growth in the region.
Plus, the nice weather is brief as rain chances are back by tomorrow. Those details coming up as Mountain News at 6 starts now.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
Animal rescue groups are dealing with another situation in the same Kentucky county where just last month dozens of dogs were pulled from a home. The animal shelter in Estill County is out of space and is asking for donations. Pause for the Cause has been called in to help. WYMT's Phil Pendleton spoke to their director and has more from their headquarters in Lexington, and we want to warn you some of the images in this story are disturbing.
The situation that Pause for the Cause is working with is once again in Estill County, an area where at least 70 dogs were seized from a home just a month ago. Once again, they say they are dealing with malnourished dogs, dogs that seriously need a lot of help and donations from the community.
And when I saw the pictures, it just broke my heart because these dogs were barely standing.
Pause for the Cause was called to an Estill County home because of reports of dogs being starved and neglected. If that sounds familiar, it's because it's the same county where there were dozens of dogs found in a hoarding and breeding operation that got out of control about a month ago.
Estill County has been at capacity for the past year and doesn't really have any room to take any dogs in right now.
She says the current case involves at least 20 dogs and some puppies, and some have been covered in gashes and puncture marks where they've been fighting over what little food they have been provided with.
We have videotape of the dogs diving into a 55-gallon garbage can trying to eat the food that was inside that garbage can.
The Estill County Animal Shelter is asking for donations. They need dog food, they need canned pumpkin and plain yogurt, two items that they say they need to help nurse malnourished dogs back to health. Phil Pendleton, now back to you.
Phil, thank you. Along with being malnourished, rescue groups say the dogs are also flea and tick infested and are losing their hair. A Letcher County man is facing 5 indictments, which include charges of murder and strangulation. 39-year-old Lawrence Eugene Holcomb was indicted by a Letcher County grand jury on October 9th. Holcomb was in court for an arraignment yesterday. Court officials say he entered a not guilty plea. Holcomb was arrested last month after a standoff in the Jeremiah community. Police say he murdered a pregnant woman, Vanessa Holcomb. He's expected to be back in court at 9 a.m. on March 26th for a pretrial conference. A woman was taken to the hospital after she was shot while driving on the interstate. The Rockcastle County Sheriff says she was driving on I-75 North last night when she was shot in her upper leg. Crews took her to Rockcastle Regional Hospital. She was then flown to UK Hospital. They are still looking for the shooter. If you have any information, you should contact the Rockcastle County Sheriff's Office at the number on your screen. Officials with the Laurel County Sheriff's Office need your help finding a vehicle that was reportedly stolen. Take a look at the picture on your screen there. That truck was allegedly stolen from Barberville Street in London. If you have any information about this case, you're asked to contact the Sheriff's Office at 606-864-6600. October marks Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and today Governor Andy Beshear recognized it on the state level. For those who work in this field, like Greenhouse 17 Executive Director Darlene Thomas, she says steps like this are helping to get information to those who need it. She says it also shines a light on the stories of the survivors and victims of domestic violence or intimate partner violence.
Intimate partner violence is hard, but there's a really dark side of fear of what can happen. And so that's where we need to bring light to. We need to bring light to survivors so they know there's choices and options.
At today's proclamation signing, Governor Beshear also announced that Kentucky is receiving more than $2 million in U.S. Department of Justice grant funding. This money will assist law enforcement in bringing justice to victims of sexual assault.
We are tracking some sunny and comfortable conditions across the mountains into your Wednesday evening. Here's a live look from the Pikeville Medical Center. We are under plenty of blue sky. That current temperature is 63 degrees, so we are close to average across the mountains for this evening. Up to 68 for Manchester, 66 in Harlan, and 64 for Prestonsburg, also in Perry County at this hour. So again, we are nice and comfortable as we go into this evening. And again, we stay dry into tonight. Those lows back in the upper 40s and lower 50s, but those clouds do increase as you wake up on Thursday as that next weather system is knocking on the door. This cold front producing some showers over Illinois, also Missouri and Kansas. This will continue to march off to the east as we go into your Thursday, also Friday. So that means an increase in those rain chances on Thursday, Friday. Also tracking some breezy winds on Thursday and Friday as well before some cooler and drier air by this weekend. That full forecast on the way in just a few minutes. Steve?
Cameron, thank you. Primary care centers of Eastern Kentucky have been serving our region since 2003 with 4 locations in the mountains, but they are continuing to grow. WYMT's Olivia Calfee has more.
For the last 20 years, Primary Care Centers of Eastern Kentucky CEO Barry Martin says their focus has been the people.
To try to give good quality access to this area. Because some of the comments that I would get when we would go around and we were telling people about our new clinic is, I can make an appointment in Lexington and be back before I can get in and out around here. And we made a promise that we would try to make sure that that would not happen after we got going.
It was a promise that Martin says he feels confident he has kept as they continue to make strides to better health care in Eastern Kentucky and beyond.
We're the most productive, highest volume rural health clinic in Kentucky, and we're the 3rd largest rural health center in the country. We had seen 189,000 encounters last year, and we had over 39,000 unique patients walk through our doors out of the 4 clinics.
With more than 45 providers offering everything from a diabetes clinic to a dentist office, the growth isn't stopping.
We do have one more thing that we're going to do, and that's we're going to open a clinic in Whitesburg in December.
Martin says he expects the new clinic to add 8 to 10 jobs to the Whitesburg community. In Hazard, Olivia Calfee, WYMT Mountain News.
Martin says they also have a new event center in Hazard, and on November 3rd, they will be opening it up for the first Diabetes Symposium in southeastern Kentucky in cooperation with SOAR, Pikeville Medical Center, and ARH, among others. The guest speaker will be Dr. Stephen Stack, who became a familiar face during the pandemic during Governor Beshear's news conferences. A little more than a year after announcing an expansion of services and building space at a clinic for vets in Eastern Kentucky, we now know when the project is supposed to start. In a news release today, officials with the Department of Veterans Affairs say crews will begin construction on the 13,500 square foot clinic in Prestonsburg in the spring of 2025. Officials believe the process will take about 16 months to complete, with the estimated completion date set for the summer of 2026. The University of Virginia's College at Wise is making an economic impact in Appalachia. WYMT's Chandler Wilcox talked to administrators about ways they are helping grow the region.
UVA-Wise administrators are working to get students involved in the community.
We have a focused effort on our career planning and discovery. In fact, we have an office that is their primary focus of helping students find their way.
One of their programs is called Nest, a space for creative thinking.
The students can go and create and think about what they want to do as it relates to stepping into a career or creating their own job, creating their own business.
One of the most recent ways the school has impacted the community is through the opening of the Little Cabs Early Learning Center.
When I came to UVA-Wise 10 years ago, it was one of the first things that some faculty brought to my attention was that people with young families couldn't find local childcare.
The Early Learning Center not only benefits faculty and community members, but also students.
Is a best practice for higher education because you then get to include your students in their education program who can do internships in your own child care center.
The opening comes as the school welcomed a record number of students on campus for the fall semester. In Wise, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
Very pretty over there, too. Chancellor Donna Henry also says the YWCA will be managing the Little Calves Early Learning Center. In a report from the Lexington Herald-Leader, new data shows students are missing more classes than they were before COVID. School officials from across the state discussed that trend this week during a legislative committee meeting. They say last school year attendance was down across the board. Compared to the 2018 and 19 school year, average daily attendance was down 2 to 2.5%. Habitual truancy was 25 to 30%, which was a 15% increase. The Southeast Kentucky Chamber of Commerce has announced it is now accepting applications for the Excellence in Education Grant Program. Any school within the Chamber's 8-county service area that you see there on your screen can apply, but priority will go to schools that have not received funding within the last 2 cycles. The maximum funding has been increased to $1,250 to $1,500. Applications will be open until December 1st. An Eastern Kentucky doctor who flew in needed supplies during the July 2022 flood is headed back to Kentucky. Dr. Randy Barnett was the chief neurosurgery resident at UNC Chapel Hill during the disaster. She is returning to her alma mater, the University of Kentucky College of Medicine in Lexington, next year. The Breathitt County native will join UK Healthcare as a pediatric neurosurgeon. Barnett says it is a dream come true to return home.
Well, we are tracking scattered showers and breezy winds on Thursday, also Friday. That forecast coming up. Plus,
one of the most famous horse racing tracks here in the Bluegrass is getting a makeover.